Today's Serial Entrepreneur Secrets Revealed episode is a special feature from The Complete Entrepreneur, hosted by Michael Gilmour every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern on Clubhouse. This special crossover session brings together the insights and energy of both podcasts, offering a unique perspective on the entrepreneurial journey. Get ready for an inspiring blend of stories and strategies to enhance your own path to success.
You're listening to The Complete Entrepreneur. Yes, you're catching this on Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat, Serial Entrepreneur Secrets Revealed podcast because we do this every Friday at 2 o'clock Eastern. But this week, we are actually not going to be running a show. And we decided to introduce you to The Complete Entrepreneur. It's a little bit of a different take on the formula of what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur. See, you actually have to be thinking about yourself. You are an individual. You are someone who has to figure out how to live through that roller coaster. And this show is dedicated to that. It's not dedicated to the formula of what it takes to market or get the best SEO. It's dedicated to what do you do to figure out how to be the best at what you can do, how to get over those challenges, emotions often with others. Startup is a roller coaster. It's not easy. This is what we do. We start, scale, exit, repeat. And today's show, we normally have Michael Gilmour with us, but we do not have Michael today because he's traveling. But we do have Michelle Van Tilburg who's going to join us. And it's a show that's going to be very interesting because we're going to be talking about neurodiversity and the importance of the different personality types when it comes to entrepreneurship and your secret weapon. Your neurodiversity is your secret weapon. And you are different, but that's good. That's very good. Because if you're the same as everybody else, then you're not different. And then you're not. This is what gives you the advantage. So today, we're not going to talk about the negative sides of entrepreneurship, of the mental challenges, the mental health challenges. What we're going to talk about today is about what makes us unique and different, our personality types, and how we can use those personalities to help accelerate our business. Michelle, are you in the room now? I'm having some technical problems with the app right now.
I am here and I am very anxious to hear. I think anxious is one of those key characteristics that a lot of us neurodiverse people have. But I'm very interested to hear on what that means, how we cope with it, but more importantly, Colin, how do we harness it for the greater being?
All right, so that was funny. So there was a little bit of anxiety building up there because when I was speaking, the only person I saw was myself. You were not here, the audience was not here, I was alone. And so I began to fear that, oh, people don't really care about neurodiversity. They don't really care about the fact that uh, this is our superpower. That 49% of people who are entrepreneurs have some form of mental challenge. Now, I want to be clear. Today's show is not about the negative side of those mental challenges because we talk a lot about that in the book, Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat. And we talk a lot about, you know, the challenges that entrepreneurs have to facing that roller coaster, the up and down. And I had a personal friend who committed suicide a month ago. So this is really near and dear to me. But today, that's not what the show's about. We're not going to go there. What we're going to talk about today is really all about neurodiversity, about the talents that you have as an entrepreneur, whether it's ADHD, and I'm going everything from memory right now because I do not have the right data in front of me right now. So everything's coming from memory from the book, Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat. But 31% of people, first let's start with 49% of people who are entrepreneurs have mental diversity. We'll call that. We're just going to call it diversity. I'm not going to call it mental challenges. I'm not going to call it something else. Let's call it mental diversity for now. 31% have ADHD. 11% have bipolar disorder. And there's some other stats in there as well around OCD and other challenges. And it's interesting because a few weeks ago, we read an article, Michelle, about Elon Musk in the Wall Street Journal. And in that article in the Wall Street Journal, it talked about how Elon Musk, I mean, this guy was at one time the richest person in the world and probably is still number two. I think Bernard Arnault may have just overtaken him as the Tesla stock has slid a bit. But to be clear, he's one of the richest people in the world, and he has openly admitted to a few things. He was openly admitted um, to Asperger's. He's openly admitted to depression, and he's openly admitted to um, another condition. I just can't remember. I'm doing everything by memory right now. I'm flying blind. But that being said, he's neurodiverse. I mean,
Yeah,
let's be
I'm
clear.
going to
When you
just
see him
add
speak, he is
on.
neurodiverse. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I actually read Elon's book recently because that's a really good example, right? This guy is, come on, he's Colin, he's off the charts, brilliant, obviously successful, but the neurodiverse about him is a bit on the autism spectrum,
Thank
which
you. That was the
is,
one I was looking for. Autism. That was the third one.
yeah, like because what he said, just going from his book, I'm not inferring here, is that it's hard for him to empathize with people's emotions, right? A lot of neurodiverse people, it's like they're taken as, being rude or arrogant or stuck up or whatever the terminology is because they don't read like people's emotion. They're very, they're very analytical sometimes, not always, but very analytical. So, people, it's very hard for them to deal with them because they're very, as you would say in your book, Colin, like they're very staccato, right? They're very like factual. Like they don't deal, well in emotions. They're just, okay, this is not a fit and this needs to go. So people take them the very wrong way. And that could be a real challenge for entrepreneurs, right? Because we're trying to build teams and lead teams and gosh, everybody's working so hard and giving so much and maybe not making a lot of money. It becomes a real challenge. So I'm just like, as I'm hearing myself talk, like it just reiterates the point that as a leader, as an entrepreneur, especially as a startup, which is your subject matter expert, is connecting with people is absolutely critical because you have to be very, excuse me, harsh sometimes to get things done. I'm curious what you have to think about that, Colin. Are you harsh?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm getting my standing here. I don't know if I spelt it correctly in the chat, but if you're in the audience and you think you're neurodiverse, we want to hear about you. We want to hear about the fact that you are ADHD, you are bipolar, or you do have depression or other things. Um, I'm going back. I finally got the last presentation I did with Dan Greck on the called the roller coaster of entrepreneurship, and this was with a Miami group. And this is in the book. It was Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat. Entrepreneurs have a 30% of entrepreneurs have a lifetime history of depression. Now, I don't think that's going to help you. I don't think depression helps entrepreneurs. But these are the stats. I'm just going to run with them for a second. 29% have ADHD. By the way, that's 6 times the population. 6 times the population. Okay? So there's got to be something to do with ADHD and successive entrepreneurs. And I know Vincent's going to talk about this in a second. 12% have substance use conditions. I don't think that's going to help you. And 11% have bipolar diagnosis. And that's, by the way, do you want to hear this, Michelle? 12 times
Oh my God.
the population.
I,
12
I know this
times
one
the
is
rate.
interesting, and I'm
I
I'm
know.
curious about this because, yeah, let's not go there. I
No,
know
I mean,
that
look,
I'm
look,
not
look. I
bipolar, but sometimes, there's someone in our midst who's accused me of that, and I'm like, I'm not. Like, I'm so sure I'm not, but I'm very
sometimes you're on the
interested.
spectrum.
I don't.
Like I've been accused of being on the spectrum by Dan Grech for ADHD, and I'm like, no, I'm not ADHD. Every entrepreneur I know, they're nowhere near the level of EQ that I have when it comes to communicating with other people, right? So I think there's a little bit of spectrum. So maybe it's not 100% diagnosis, but you're also on the spectrum. And I will make this case. I believe I believe that's your superhero. I believe that neurodiversity is what makes you different. It what makes you successful. It would make so many entrepreneurs successful in our society. And if you're in the audience, I love it. We're getting a lot of audience feedback right now on the chat. Just please join us on stage. Vincent, I'm gonna lean to you right now. Do you think you're neurodiverse in any way, or do you believe that can be an asset for entrepreneurs?
Uh, Absolutely, and it also can be a hindrance. But truly, that's all up to your decision, your belief at the end of the day. Because it all depends on, like I normally say, I don't subscribe to people's prescribed labels for me. Uh, by the way, Elon Musk actually went on SNL saying he had Asperger's. Asperger's is no longer. It's because I think the guy was a Nazi or something, but it's just been put in the spectrum of autism, ASD, autism spectrum disorder. But yeah, it could be used as a superpower, but so can anything. Like every person is super as long as they let themselves be. The only hindrance is when you don't.
So say that again. When you don't.
Yeah, when
Yeah,
you
when you.
don't, like, I like where you're going with this, Vincent. So can I interpret for
No,
you, and
please,
tell me if
like
I'm wrong, okay? Like you're
absolutely.
saying, lean into who you are and be who you are. Like that's your superpower, right? If you're a little
Ab-
quirky, and I think we
ab-
all are if we're honest, right?
well, yeah, like if only everyone was honest. But absolutely, be you. Everyone else is taken. That's what Oscar Wilde said.
Oh yeah, I
Like,
love Oscar. Good.
yeah, but I to be forward, I really don't even like the term neurodiverse, but it does encapsulate uh, a
All
group of
right.
people
Thank
that
you
care
very
for, or
much
very much so.
for the contribution.
Pardon?
Hey,
Can I
hybrid.
add
Let's
in?
just give this
Wait,
hybrid.
wait.
Hold on, hold on. Let's
Yeah,
just give
let's let
Vincent one more
Vincent.
second, and we'll jump right down to you, right down to you. But Vincent, we'll give you a couple more seconds here to finish your
Oh,
point.
it's all good. I'd rather chime in just a little bit later.
All
If
right. We don't want
Hybrid has something to say.
hybrids coming up next. God, Drew. Oh, we got a lot of neurodiverse
Hi
people on stage
Colin,
here.
hi Michael, hi
Come on,
Vincent.
hold on. We got hybrid next. Hold on. We
All
got a lot
right.
of
Thank.
neurodiverse people on stage. All right. So God, Drew, just hold on.
All right then. Thank you very much. Bismillah, peace and blessings be upon the room. I think you've opened a certain level of a platform, so to speak, to have an honest conversation, and that reality is by way of focusing on the set topic. The challenge we're having is you do not have set entity by way of the gentleman who just spoke, who cannot express himself effectively. He cannot communicate what the fuck he's trying to push out there.
All right. So let's not go too extreme here. I
Hmm.
think I really believe Vincent is a freaking genius, and he comes on the show all the time, and he delivers really, really good content, and he does it in his own neurodiverse way, and I'm fucking
So,
okay
so,
with that. Hybrid, let's not go too far here.
so why was he unable to communicate?
All right, let's support each other, my friend.
Engage. Yeah, yeah. We're trying to support each other, but I'm not going to lie to you. I realize the strengths and the weaknesses when it comes to humanity and the different type of human beings. So let's not fuck about and mess around and present a narrative like we don't know who you are. You understand? We understand who you are. We understand your weaknesses. But what we're struggling to progress in terms of modern day society is, why should I deal with an entity like you or yourself if you could not demonstrate value add to me? And I'm going to be very specific. The gentleman who spoke before I came on board, he could not communicate effectively. This is the problem.
Well, thank you for
All
that,
right, so
and I actually
I'm
believe he
sorry,
communicates very
Hybrid. I had
effectively.
to move you to the audience. I'm
All right.
sorry. We
Colin,
need to be
don't worry about it.
Yeah,
It's
respectful.
Michelle, let's give
We
Vincent a
need
it,
to
chance
be
to respond. Let's give
respectful.
Vincent a chance to respond.
no, it's completely fine. Everyone's gonna have their 2 cents to put in. That's they're individuals. We all have opinions. They're like excuses. Sometimes they're like, as I said, they're like uh, mm, assholes. That we all have them. They all stink. But at the same time, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But I really don't. The reason why I hold back a little bit is because this is it means a lot to me to speak on this because I'm a part of the Global Autism Awareness House, and well, on this subject, I'm not just speaking for me. I'm speaking for many, like because I am of the ASD, and
Hi,
yeah,
Vincent.
Godfrey, just hold on. Let's just get Vincent, give him a chance, okay?
and yeah, like no worries. The thing is just I just want everyone to know that no matter what it is, matter what hindrance or whatever they've decided they have, it doesn't have to be a hindrance. It's only one as long as you let it be. And if I didn't communicate that well enough, I apologize. But at the same time, I don't, because I'm me. I'm going to be me, and I believe in me, and you should believe in you.
All right, don't ever apologize, Vincent. We love you. We love it when you come on stage. And it's like my son grew up ADHD, diagnosed ADHD, OCD, and took medication for both. And I'm like, that's okay. He had to learn, but he eventually got off the medications, and
Tika puchpanditwalo gandu ನನ್ನ ಮಕ್ಕಳ.
it's a talent. It's a talent for him. Um, wow, we have a really tough stage today, do we not, Michelle? Listen, it's a talent for my son that he's got ADHD. It's a talent for you, Vincent. I'm going to ask you very Godrew, you got to hold on, okay? Like we're gonna put you down in the audience again, and like guys, I'm not gonna apologize for this. Like you're
Bike ಎಲ್ಲ
disturbing.
ರೋಡಿಗೆ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗೈತಾ
All right,
ಬಾಲಕ್ಸು.
you're done. All right, so Vincent, I want to ask you a question. Um,
Shoot.
how do you find that your autism helps you with business in life? I'm not talking. We're going to try to focus on the positive of that, right? Look at how Elon Musk focuses on the positive. I want to hear from you the same.
Well, I've never truly thought of how it helps me, but again, it's just me. So how does my perspective help me in business would probably be the best case. And I'm a forever optimist because we live in a world full of pessimists that very much so are just, well, predominantly a lot of quitters.
So I
Entrepreneurship
love
is
that.
hard.
So you're saying is, let's just say because you're not like hypersensitive to people's emotions. that
Oh
it
no,
actually
that's
makes you persevere, right?
actually I'm on the other side of that.
Yeah, that's what I'm
I am
saying.
hypersensitive of
Exactly.
people's emotions.
You're like, somebody could be making the horrible face or saying things like it's like lost on you. So it
No,
makes you
No,
absolutely
he's
pursue.
the opposite, Michelle. He's the opposite. We have to be
I'm
viewed to the audience,
I'm
Michelle.
hyper aware. Like
Oh, you're okay. Okay, I
so
got
my,
it. I got it. I
like
got it.
I was gonna
Yeah.
go into therapy. My mother got her master's degree in therapy and begged me not to because I care too much, and she said there's too much take home. So I went to consumer behavior instead, which is just basically psychology of consumers.
Right. Yeah. All right. Consumer behavior. Got it. Thank you for, explaining that. That
No
helps a lot. So
problem.
you're
And
overly sympathetic, empathetic.
overly, I don't know. Overtly, maybe.
Yeah.
Um, uh, but we have to, like, we also have to state that there is no blanket term for, like, there's the reason why it's called the spectrum because there's so many differences in, like, likenesses, and it's called a disorder, but, that's just because it's different, and people are afraid of different and don't understand different. But
I've never liked disorder, though. I've never liked, disorder. It's like a disease. It's like a condition. You're different.
It's
Like,
negative.
yeah. I don't think I
so
don't think
let's
that the richest person on the planet is got all those things and is the richest person on the planet by accident. I think that the neurodiversity, what's in you, Vincent, is actually an asset. It's something you need to harness. And this is the problem. Even you came on stage and you're like, well, I don't look at it that way. I look at it as a negative. And I think that we have to begin to look at, yes, there are problems that entrepreneurs have. We opened the show up that way. But there's also ADHD. There's also other not conditions. There's also other differences that can give you an advantage in business. And that's what we're trying to tap here. And if you're in the audience and you understand what we're talking about, you are neurodiverse in your own way. We want to hear from you. Please raise your hand and share that with us. And we're not going to attack here. This is not a show where we allow attacking, okay? Because this is a sensitive topic. This is something we're not going to allow anyone to come on stage and do what they
Yeah,
did a few
and
minutes ago.
we're trying to help each other, right? And support each other because in the you might call it your strength or your weakness, there's the other side of that that causes you to be that unique individual that makes you excel. Right, Colin? Colin?
No, absolutely, absolutely,
All
and
right, I'm
hybrid.
gonna let
Hybrid
hybrid
wants to come back
Prince.
on, and look,
Yeah,
let's give hybrid
let's let
one more
him
chance.
back to the
Maybe once
stage.
he wants to come on stage, maybe he wants to come on stage and clear his point
I
up.
am letting him come back to the stage. Hybrid, sorry we had to do that, my friend. So now it's your stage. Tell
All right,
us,
cool. All right, all right, all right. Sorry you had to do what?
or that you had to go down below the stage, but tell us your thoughts on it in a very, supportive,
Mm,
positive way, please.
all right, cool. Listen,
Okay.
hybrid is a self-established individual. Hybrid does not need your particular brand of validation. Do you understand? But I'm trying to understand your perspective by way of thinking the hybrid requires your particular brand of validation. I'm a bit confused because where did hybrid ever say to you that he's looking for your view or perspective? I can tell that you are not that individual. I can tell that you are not fully clear on perspective to be able to impose said will. So are you perhaps confused before you engage an entity like hybrid? Do you want to clarify? Because
And
all I listen,
who's the question? Who are you asking the question of?
the question is open. The question is modern, likely directed to. Let me open up the name so I can see that. I can see that.
To
Because I'm not
Colin.
confused. I'm not confused. Well, we're
Michelle.
talking about.
All right, cool. So the question is directed to Michelle. Having said that, hybrid doesn't necessarily feel any need to particularly specify. Put it this way, I understand what you're about. I understand you have no pedigree. I understand you have no power. I understand you're just here to have a conversation to appease set egos. And that's fine.
No,
But listen,
no.
listen,
Yeah, we're listening. No, the answer is no. The answer is no. We're not
Yeah.
here to appease. What we're here to do today in this show is talk about neurodiversity, to talk about how that can actually help you be a successful entrepreneur. How being different isn't necessarily a negative thing. And I understand that there are a lot of mental conditions. We talk about this a lot in the book, Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat, okay? And we go into detail and we talk about how 49% of entrepreneurs have some form of mental disorder. And we do call it mental disorder in the book. Now I'm beginning to think the language I use should probably have been a little different. But that being
No.
said,
Right.
we have 31% who are have depression, 29% have ADHD, 6 times the average population, 12% substance abuse, 11% bipolar diagnosis. We have entrepreneurs like Richard Branson, who have identified themselves as ADHD. Walt Disney, Bill Gates, um, Elon Musk has identified himself with a number of, what do we call it, Vincent? Not conditions, differences. We have to rename this stuff, right?
I know. It's like a whole
Differences,
new
right? So this
vocabulary.
is
It's so
that's what this
interesting.
topic is all about. It's like, let's start recognizing that we are different, that entrepreneurs are not normal for the most part, and that yes, 49% of us, that's half of us, are considered to have some form of condition. And maybe that's okay. Maybe that's good.
Well, the most successful like marketing campaign ever was Think Differently, so that might weigh in a little bit.
Yeah. All
I
right.
think
So this is like an amazing conversation and hybrid. I think you can appreciate, like, we're trying to, give Vincent and everybody else on the stage some space. We don't want anybody to be criticized. But on that note, we have Shirley who's joined us, and I'm very interested to hear what Shirley has to say. Shirley.
Oh, thank you very much for having me on. I really appreciate this topic because I was diagnosed actually with bipolar back in 2018, and I'm an extremely ambitious. I have a lot of ambition to have my own business and everything, and as a story alchemist, and I want to help men to know themselves through the power of their story. I'm not trying to self promote, but what I'm saying is that. This bipolar condition that I've got is really uh, challenging, and also extremely potent in the sense that it gives me insight, it gives me depth, it gives me information that I would have never gotten otherwise. It's led me to create a program that's like no other. And I know for one thing that I need help. So I actually have in the works a branding and business partner to help me because he's very solid, and he has a whole different perspective on, because I'm no good at the website design and logos and stuff like that. Just is completely beyond me. I can create things, I can carry them out, but excuse me, I'm walking. But as far as kind of the bells and whistles of delivering a program, email lists and stuff like that, they're just completely beyond me. So I would say that a divergent person needs to have a really good team around them. That's my observation that I'd like to contribute to this discussion. And thank you.
Well, Shirley, I think what you're saying is brilliant. I think what you're saying is very high EQ. Because if you know that you've got these talents, I'm going to call them talents for now. I'm moving up, Vincent. He's on the call, but I'm moving up. They're not conditions, they're not differences, they're talents. If you've got these talents, then you also have corresponding weaknesses. And what Shirley you're talking about here is identifying your weaknesses and saying, okay, I need to surround people around me to address those weaknesses. And I think that's absolutely brilliant. I think you're dead on. And I'm just curious, how do you think that your bipolar has actually helped you as an entrepreneur? Can you talk a little bit about that? But I also think you're very smart to surround yourself with people who address your weaknesses. And by the way, you don't have to be bipolar. You don't have to be ADHD. You don't have to be any. And this, I talk about this extensively in the book. You have to identify your personality profile and surround yourself with different like-minded people, different personality profiles, so that you can create a team, so you can succeed and win in a marketplace. But Shirley, I'm just very curious from your perspective of how you think that your bipolar actually helps you. And I'm trying to pull the good stuff out of all of our eccentrics, out of all of our talents.
Wow, that's a really good question. How does my bipolar help me? Well, let me see now. Well, one thing that I find that seems to be part of the gift of bipolar is a heightened level of sensitivity to almost like I'll tell you what it's like. It's like uh, being the spider in the middle of the spider web, where the spider can sense all of the vibrations that come near her spider web. Like I can feel all that. Um, and before I got diagnosed and put on medication, I just had, a lot of emotions to deal with, and I didn't really know how to deal with them. Uh, Now I have a structure of support, and I I really, really tend to my emotions. I still have lots of emotions to deal with, but I know how to attend to them, and I can tune into people in a way that I think is really rare. It's really rare to be able to tune into people in that particular way, to feel what's going on inside their energy field, inside their body. I was working with somebody today and I could feel his heart was really heavy, and I do work with men, and men have a very, very difficult time. Some of them anyway, a lot of them have a very difficult time accessing their emotions in their body. And the repercussions of that are really, really drastic, because in the form of a heart attack, for instance, I feel like I disarm uh, the ticking time bomb of a heart attack in a man's heart by the work that I do. Because I can go right in there and say, well, what's all this emotional backlog? Let's get rid of it. Let's let's you start to verbalize it and clean it out. And okay, does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
Oh my gosh, you're like, I just keep going. Like, you could run this show. You could be the moderator on this show. Like, you are amazing. I
Oh, thank
love
you.
your perspective. I love where you're coming from. I love the fact you're sharing everything so like authentic and deep and real. You're amazing, Shirley.
Oh,
And I know we have a couple people in the audience too who have been doing some comments. It's been very active, the comments. We'd love to have you on stage and just talk about your comments too, because you know what Shirley's talking about here is very interesting. And Vincent, I'm curious if that's resonated with you at all. Like, has that really connected with you, this idea that she talks about?
Absolutely. I think it's fantastic what she does because truly she's like helping people, like not hearing their dirty laundry per se, but rather just so I call myself a valuation, and it's because I was thinking about like what I wanted to do, and I thought what could be better than someone who inherently creates value within industries, or if it is helping them to see the inherent value behind truly putting the output needed to receive the benefits from. And it sounds like Shirley is very much helping people do that.
Yeah, you're too distant. You're sounding it too distant. We're trying to
Yeah,
get. We're trying to
I
like.
think so.
We're trying to like lap up every word you're saying, but we can't
But
because it's hard
I'm
to
going to
hear you.
say it this
But
way,
go ahead.
Colin. It's just like, you know, the flip side of everything can be a positive or negative, whatever you decide. But surely it's like, you know, you know, I'm not trying to speak for you or diagnose you or anything, so please don't take it as such. But it's like that, you know, maybe that gene or whatever it is where you're not like hypersensitive, what everyone's thinking or interpreting what everyone thinks. You're just trying to be real, like that is like a superpower, right? Because you kind of like cut through the bullshit. It's not like, oh my God, this person doesn't like me or is looking at me funny or whatever it is. I'm not saying you don't feel that. I'm not saying that at all. But just like not responding to it in a way where you're blocking that emotion, like that's a superpower, Colin. And Colin, I know that you have that too. I'm just going to say that because you're my friend. Okay. Of course you care about people's feelings, but you also are, you know, very true to yourself.
All right, so I don't know. It's not going at me now. Like hybrid's gonna come at me pretty fast if I start talking about me. And hybrid, he's he's dangerous. Like, okay, come on, no. But let's be clear here. It is our neurodiversity that which gives us our strength, which is our talent, which helps us succeed. We've seen this happen over and over again in history. We've seen it with Richard Branson. We've seen it with Elon Musk. We've seen it with Bill Gates. We see it with Walt Disney. We see it with Roland. Roland just joined. I'm just joking, Roland. But we see it with so many entrepreneurs in history. They're not normal. Okay, let's just be very okay. Let's agree on one thing. And maybe if you want to throw this in the chat, you're all in the audience. Let's agree on one thing that entrepreneurs are not considered normal, that we're not the same as all the other corporate drones that exist out there, that we really are different. And if you believe in that, just throw that in the chat. Just throw it in the chat. Just like we are different. And I love that because I'm telling you this. We do what we do, and our personality drives us to do that. And we have deeper meaning within ourselves that make us make those moves, make us make those risks, make us do the crazy freaking insanity. My business partner once called me. He goes, I've never met a person in my life who takes more risks than you do.
True.
Like, you are unbelievable. And I'm not talking about you, Michelle. I'm talking about Igor. But anyway,
Yeah,
listen, I'm
yeah,
just
I
saying,
know that.
you know exactly who I was talking about, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, what? Why do I take so much risks? I talk about in the book that entrepreneurship is a drug, and I'm, I, I've done the good stuff and I've done the bad stuff. I've done well. I've lost a lot of money. I lost $100 million when I was 28 years old. I'm a little bit of a fucked up personality, and but that's okay. I learned a lot. As long as I learn along the way. See, that's the key. You got to learn, right? And but anyway, let's not go down that path right now. Let's just go down the path that we are all neurodiverse on some level, and that is our talent, right? We are who we are.
Yeah, I'm going to add something here, Colin. Is just for me, I'm a very analytical person, even though I am very feeling. So it's like an interesting thing because it's like my neurodiversity that causes me to actually do things that work. take the little risk. Otherwise, I'm just talking myself out of it. Like I'm in my head so much. In a way, it manifests itself differently. And I'm really interested to hear, what Shirley and Vincent and Hybrid have to say. It's what almost, I know this sounds really weird, guys, but it's almost what brings me out of my own headspace. Is that weird, Shirley? Like, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so you're saying that you're mostly in your head? Is that what you're saying,
Yeah,
Michelle?
I
I'm trying to
am. I get
understand.
very analytical and I'm like, no, a million people have done this. You can't do this. It won't ever work. It's my neurodiversity that makes me actually do something, take action.
ये चुप बहन की लोड़ी चुप मुंह अंदर अपना बहन की लोड़ी तेरी माँ चोद दूंगा घर
You know what
Oh,
I'm
bugger
saying?
off.
I know I moved him. Yeah. But it's like that, like, friends of mine, they're afraid to like just jump out and, take the risk. But it's almost my neurodiversity that makes me like get out of my own head and just be like, I don't care. I'm just doing it and I throw it out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I take a lot of risks too. Um, yeah, it's I think that you're probably more on a solid wavelength than I am, Michelle. That's why I said that I have to have a team around me to bounce my ideas off of, because otherwise I'd just go kabonkers. I really need people that I can trust around me to steer me right. That's But it sounds like you have a handle on it. But I would suggest to you to also, get into your body, because the body has a lot of wisdom and can give you a lot of information that you might want to take into consideration. Who knows? You could be curious about that.
I think Michelle does have a handle on it, but I think you, Shirley, are doing a better job of understanding that when you have this neurodiversity, you recognize it's a talent. And Vincent, I'm sending this to you as well. You recognize it's a talent, but you need people around you. And I know you brought that up about 20 minutes ago, and I'm going to repeat it now. You need people around you to help balance you. And Vincent, do you have people around you to help balance your genius, or are you a solopreneur?
I'm solo, but I have many mentors, so that's where I find a little bit of equilibrium. But I also find, so when finding a team, sure, first of all, I would like you to like rethink this need because you have everything you need, but a lot of us don't give ourselves the credit. It's called imposter syndrome or whatever that you want to call it. But crediting ourselves, another thing, Colin, like, please, like remove that thought of you being a fucked up individual. Like, no need to say that about yourself. Like, just because you made mistakes in the past doesn't make you bad. Hold on one second, I gotta take this. But please remember that.
Yep, and you know what? I think that we all fucked up in some ways, but that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. It's okay to be fucked up. I believe that's okay. And then you know what? We mess up, we do that, but we got to let that go. We got to focus on the positive. We got to focus on building new things and understanding how we can create companies and launch businesses and you know what? But I think once in a while it's okay to recognize that we did screw up once in a while. And yeah, I did lose $100 million when I was 28 years old, and that really is painful. And it will never go away. And it will never go away not because I lost 100 million, but because all the employees around me lost millions as well. And that became part of the book. That became part of the book. Start, scale, exit, repeat. It became the thesis of this book, Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat. It became a number one bestseller on Amazon, Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat, because a number one bestseller in 13 categories on Amazon, because it really did make a difference in my life. And I think what Shirley talked about, and Vincent, what you talked about, and Michelle, you talked about, is this idea that we can learn from that. That the failures of our past, The scars are the failures of our past that guide us through our new ventures. That's the fact. That we can learn from it and we can become something else. That we are not our past, we are our future, and we can choose to be that future. And we can take our neurodiversity, mine, whatever it is, and I know I'm definitely on a few scales here, but we can take our neurodiversity and we can use that to our benefit. And like Shirley says, we can take that neurodiversity and surround ourselves with people to help us succeed. Because we recognize that we are different, but we need other people who are different than us to help us succeed. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. And I think that probably is the number one thing that I learned today on this show. And if you're listening to the podcast, like, this is amazing. Like, we do this every Thursday at 5 o'clock. It's usually, I'm not the moderator. Michelle's not the moderator. It's usually Michael Gilmour. We're just subbing in for Michael today. But we do the show Michelle and I, every Friday, 2 o'clock Eastern. However, we will not be doing it for the next 2 weeks because we are on trade shows and missions, we'll call it, and we will not be doing the shows. But we do have podcasts that will be coming out. But that being said, here we are. We've had unbelievable response. 48 comments in the chat. Otis, investing in the kids, they understand how much more than we could ever imagine. You just sort of sent that out there in chat. I love it. Otis, do you want to just come on stage and talk to us? And by the way, Roland, you've been in for a few minutes. You want to come on stage to talk to us? This concept that we are all neurodiverse, that neurodiversity is a talent. And that's the show today. We're not going to go into the dark side of mental challenges of entrepreneurs because that's there. We open that up. But we're talking about neurodiversity and how that can actually help us as entrepreneurs. So if you're in the audience, please raise your hand and talk to us on stage. If not, we can go down the chat. We have 49 chats right now, right? We can start reading some of those and answering the questions, but we just love having the live conversation. We think it's more interesting. Hybrid, do you want to throw something out here? Like, we're gonna put you back on stage because I'm hoping that you're gonna make a comeback, Hybrid. I'm hoping that you are gonna come back and understand where we're coming from here. Hybrid,
Hybrid?
I think he's gone. I
No,
think he's
he's
done.
here. He's here. That's okay.
He's done.
It's part of our, DNA here, like trying to explain things.
He was
And
pretty mean in the chat. Did you read
yeah,
the
I,
chat he
I know.
wrote?
We're trying to give people space here, my friend. You
Yeah,
know,
I thought that was big of us
let's
that
let's
we would let
give
Hybrid on,
people
but
space. Like we're trying to give
yeah,
them space to explain themselves. We're not trying to define each other.
exactly. So, listen, neurodiversity is part of our superpower. Hey, you want to take your neurodiversity, Shirley? 10x AI. It's like strapping on the Iron Man suit. Holy shit. You can take this AI, you can strap it on, you can write contracts, you can write you can write any article you want. You could even write a Hollywood script. And Michelle and I have been joking around about that one. We have one we're working on right now, but it's unbelievable how you can take what's going to be defined in the future with AI is the ability to use your imagination to create something. Where imagination in the past may not, and by the way, that might line up well with neurodiversity, Michelle, because a lot of neurodiverse people, a lot of people
I
who
think it
have these
does
challenges.
actually.
No, yeah, I do think it does. Yeah, because a lot of people like my son and others, there's not the best writers. Like, oh, by the way, I'm a horrible writer. I wrote a number one best-selling book. I don't know how I did it, and that was before AI. A lot of editors, by the way, a lot of editors at Forbes who helped me put the book together. But the reality is, you don't need to be a perfect writer to write a a, uh, a script for Hollywood. What you need is to simply have the imagination, to have the creativity. And I actually think that that is going to be the commodity of the future. I think that the technical aspects of programming, legal, writing, architecture, need to keep going on are going to go to the wayside. I think that ultimately that the neurodiverse I think the neurodiverse superheroes of this world are gonna take it over, and I think AI is gonna help us do that. What do you think, Vincent? I want your opinion on that, Vincent. You got to come in on that one.
Sorry, I'm just a little busy right now. I'll be back in just a
All
sec.
right, so sorry, so Shirley, what are you thinking about that? That AI will help the neurodiverse population on the planet.
I agree. I agree. I think that it's an extension of our mind, and I do like AI. I ask it questions. I use the material, then I weave it into what I've written and kind of massage it and make it my own. But I mean, the questions that I ask of my AI, of my chat GPT, are not questions anybody else asks. You know, they can't, because it comes out of my experience and my brain and my knowledge and my expertise. Uh, yeah, I really believe that it's like a pair of eyeglasses, or like
A
an
calculator?
It's all the above.
calculator, a
It's
computer. It's a tool. It's an extension of me, really.
absolutely, and the tool is only as capable as the one who harnesses it. And AI can be like a benefit to anyone that uses it, and I hope they use it in the right way, and also don't use like more so rather than using the copy paste. Oh, excuse me. Uh, have it write for you. How about have it write? Like, how about you write something, input it, get its perspective, and take that perspective, and then take that perspective to your writing, and then submit that. Like, truly, as an AI practitioner and engineer for now 3 years, I've been working with this for quite some time, and the capabilities of AI are seemingly without fathom.
Wow, I can't believe the comments. We've had 55 comments on this show and in the back channel. And um, look, we got 8 minutes left, and this is the last time we're gonna close. We're gonna close the speakers in like 30 seconds. If you want to jump on stage, if you made a comment, we'd love to hear from you. Like that's what we do here. We're all neurodiverse. We're all different. We're all on the spectrum. We're all figuring out how can we actually help each other out. And by the way, let's recognize it is a talent. We started by talking about condition. When Vince and I were like had this conversation, and oh, it's a condition, it's a disorder, and then we went to like, oh, it's different, and I'm like, and then we went to like, oh, wait a minute, it's a talent, right? So it's a talent. Shirley has a talent. Yeah, it's different. Yeah, she recognizes she has to surround herself with people. That's important. But let's just jump on stage. If you got, I'm gonna close it in 60 seconds. Okay. If you want to come on stage, talk about this neurodiversity, please do in the next 60 seconds. Otherwise, we're gonna close it. Um, what do you think, Michelle? Yep. Okay, I
No,
think
I
that,
think it's been an amazing conversation, and people are being really honest. I know it's a little awkward, hybrid, it's a little disjointed, but that's part of it. I'm sorry, it's part of it, because our mind is skipping all around in a good way. Okay. And I'm not ashamed of that, Colin. I don't know about you, but I'm not ashamed of that.
and I'm not ashamed for being neurodiverse either. I will tell you that. But I think there is a recognition because I first, again, I talked about the starting out in this particular show how we renamed it 3 times, and I do believe that as we go through our life, we begin to recognize who we are as individuals. When we first start out, we're uncertain, and as we begin to age, we begin to realize that you know what, maybe I am a little different. but that's okay, because that difference is what's helped me be successful. The difference is what's made me different. It's made me successful. It's been a part of who I am. So sometimes we need to embrace it and lean into it. And of course, I'm going to say this, sometimes we need to check it at the door, right? Like look at Larry David. Let's go with Larry David. If you ever watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, he is definitely neurodiverse. He is off the charts neurodiverse. But in real life, I mean, that's not his real life, by the way. He says he's exactly the opposite of his character on the show. But the fact of the matter is, he's made millions of dollars on his shows, on Seinfeld, and everything he's done. And he is a little bit off, and he knows that. He knows that, and that's okay. But aren't we all a little bit that? Aren't we all George Costanza? Aren't we all in that realm? All right, we got Shadow. We got Shadow coming on, because Shadow, I'm talking Seinfeld and Larry David and neurodiversity. And I know, Shadow, you wanted to talk a little bit about neurodiversity. We got 4 minutes left. What are your thoughts, Shadow, on this topic?
My thought is that there is no such thing as normal. There are just people that think they're normal. The rest of us just let them do it. We can be as diverse as we want. It's not a disorder, it's a strength.
Oh, I hope I didn't miss the party because I was
Nicely said.
diagnosed.
No, nicely said. Jason, go for it. Go for it.
I hope I didn't miss this because I was diagnosed schizoaffective after I with schizoaffective psychosis disorder after I finished my work term at Microsoft Canada, 1999,
Whoa, slow down.
and
Say
I
that again.
planned my
Say it
whole
again.
career
Say it
in
again.
one document.
Say that again. Slow down.
Schizoaffective, sure, schizoaffective psychosis disorder, and all it is, Colin, my IQ was off the charts. I wrote my first book in grade 5 about becoming Prime Minister of Canada. It's in the Good News Toronto paper in 1988. I passed the gifted test in grade 7. I was the most outstanding student in grade 8. I got the highest marks at Dumbarton High School in English, math, Latin, law, French, accounting, world issues, almost every subject. Graduated with 7 scholarships, valedictorian. My valedictory address, you can look at the speech. Most people say it's better than Bill Gates' speech when he was an adult and went back to Harvard, but I didn't drop out. I graduated with distinction from University of Toronto in 2001, but after I worked at Microsoft Canada as a co-op, I planned my career in one document. I said, if Bill Gates can do that, I can do better. And really, if somebody's your mentor, you should try to be better than them. Um, just some examples. They said that Kobe Bryant said when he met Michael Jordan, who was his idol, really, in a way, he idolized Michael Jordan. He said, I could kick your butt. That was the PG version. He said, I could kick your ASS. And then also they said, for example, Jay-Z, that J. Cole did his album, and J. Cole said his album's better than Jay-Z's. And Jay-Z said, and this was from listening to Founders Podcast. It's a really good podcast, the Founders Podcast. Most of the founders are like high spectrum or something, right? And they said that you're supposed to think that way. When they asked Jay-Z how he felt about J. Cole, saying that his album was better than Jay-Z's, Jay-Z said he's supposed to think that way. So when I say I planned my career better than Bill Gates, he was my mentor in a sense that I worked at Microsoft. I'm supposed to think that way. If somebody says they want to be like Oprah and dominate media, they should say they want to be better than Oprah. They're supposed to think that way. But this is why I say I plan it better than Bill Gates, because he's trying to give away all his money before he dies. He said he's going to give away before he dies. I said that takes too long. So I started where he's trying to end off. I started giving away everything for free. I incorporated a corporation that does everything for free in 99. I'm pretty sure I'm the first person in the world. 25 years. Free Shares Incorporated is the best at making people happy for free because it's the only for-profit corporation in the world with operations that does everything for free. If you check phreverything.com, that's my website. I've worked for free for God for 25 years. I had to buy a domains. I didn't have to buy them, but just so you understand, I invested in all the most valuable domains. They start off with PHREE because FREE was taken. And if you check FREeshares.com, it still hasn't sold 25 years, somebody's been holding on to that, right? I just bought phrehouses.com, phrecars.com, phretrips.com, phreacademy.com is now live and built. So I have a corporation that Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos cannot afford to buy. Free Shares Incorporated. It's the best thing making people happy for free. You can't buy what's free. The best things in life are free. The most valuable brand in the world is protected by all of the Humphreys in the world. It's spelled P H
All
R
right,
E E.
Jason, that's awesome.
Done.
That's awesome. And you've been you've come on a few times, and fellow Canadian, really appreciate that. And can you just say one last time what you said when you first
Schizoaffective
started out? What was
psychosis
it?
disorder. It's the mixture of schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. My dad was bipolar, and he was in and out of the psych ward. He was a genius from Antigua, and it's a mixture of between bipolar, a mixture of bipolar and schizophrenia. But I basically envisioned everything, and it was overwhelming. And I went to the psych ward, and I was diagnosed. I tried to explain it to my mom, and she didn't even know what a domain was. But I invested in all the domains, and they didn't even know what domains were, and they locked me up. They drugged me, and then I forgot. But I'm living the dream that I was in, basically committed for, and I'm president of Dream Livers Club Incorporated, and I'm living my dream in Antigua. Thank you for letting me share.
Oh my gosh, Antigua, and you're Canadian, so that means you're living well. All right, so you've been listening to The Complete Entrepreneur, and this is a special episode because it's being streamed through Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat, Entrepreneur Secrets Revealed podcast. We do this once in a while where we take a topic, and we thought this topic would be worthwhile to take it to podcast. And oh my gosh, what a crazy show, Michelle! Like, do you want to finish it with like we had like okay, it was a crazy show, but you know what? It was really
I'm
cool.
going to
The
say it's a
community
good
of
show.
Clubhouse, the
I'm going to say,
neurodiversity of Clubhouse was pretty cool.
Colin, I'm going to say it's a good show because people were honest, and this is what it's all about. I like what I think Shirley said. We're all a little bit different. Call it what you want, Colin. Put whatever label you want on it, but it works. Does it work for you? That's all that matters.
Exactly, and you know what? Entrepreneurs, yeah, welcome to the Insane Asylum. You've been listening to the show, and Vincent, Shirley, Shadow, Jason, really appreciate your contributions. Hybrid, maybe not so much, but we kept you on stage. We kept you engaged. We listened, and we kept you here. Thank you very much. If you're listening to this, if you haven't already done so, go to startup.club. Sign up to the email list. We have a multiple top tier speakers coming on Startup Club. And the only way you know that is if you go to www.startup.club and sign up to the mailing list. We've got thousands of people on it. We're going to be giving a book giveaway in 3 weeks from now, and it's pretty cool. It's the first time we've ever doing this, and we're doing it 3 weeks from now with an author who's going to come on our show on Friday at 2 o'clock Eastern on Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat, which is also a podcast with almost 150 episodes. Thank you very much. I loved this show. We delivered on neurodiversity, and that was our intention. Thank you very much. We'll see you all next week.